Howdy folks. Alright, this video will be 2 of 2 Bifacing Hopkinsville Hornstone chert from Todd Patterson. In my first video, I picked a couple of the worst pieces out of the box that he sent me. In this video, I'm picking some of the best pieces out of the box that he sent me. I picked this piece. I already started knocking a couple flakes off of it just because it looks like it's pretty good quality, very smooth flake surfaces. I don't see any crystal pockets, really not seeing any major flaws or anything. So I'm going to skin the cortex on this and rough out a biface. It's also got some cool features to it. We got a little bit of a bullseye going on here, some interesting color tones. So I'm liking this piece. I picked this one to work on. We'll just dive right on into it. If you haven't seen my previous videos in this series, what I'm doing is trying out some material for a member of one of our Facebook groups, Todd Patterson. He reached out to the general public with an offer to provide a box of material, like 5 to 10 pounds of material, at the cost of you just cover shipping. So free rock, basically. And in return, just work some of it, make some videos, post them up, let people know, let him know what we think about the material. I thought that was a good deal. I've done that in the past before, minus the video part. So I jumped on it, and I also have some experience with Hopkinsville, not a ton. I haven't made a tremendous amount of work from it, but I've had some bad experiences with it. And I've bought enough of the material to know what it looks like when it's bad, and what it's gonna look like when it's gonna be bad inside, although you can't always tell. But I've had enough horror stories with this material that I figured it'd be a good opportunity for me to be able to kind of share that. So that's what I've been doing. I've done a long and a short unboxing video that I put out yesterday. I did a bifacing video this morning. I just roughed out 2 bifaces real quick with some of the lower quality stuff, even though it was still pretty good rock. And then I'm going to do one more biface here. And then the last video I'll do in this series, I won't do it today, but I'll end up doing a finished point video out of one of these pieces. So that's what I'm doing. In this video, I'm just going to rough this out into a biface. I can appreciate his approach to this. I think it's a pretty smart way to do it, because one, like in the world of sales, like first impressions are first impressions, and whether you're trying to or not, if you go out and you make a bunch of poor first impressions, not a good way to get started. And then if you don't have a lot of experience, and I'm not saying Todd didn't have a lot of experience, but if you don't have a level of experience to where you're comfortable packing up a bunch of boxes of this stuff and selling it to people right off the bat, what better way to double check yourself than hook some people up, get some of it out there into other people's hands, and get a variety of feedback from them. Some honest, open feedback. And so that's what I've been doing. Pretty good stuff. I'll throw that in the keeper pile just because it looks cool. this a relatively short video too. Let me start a timer. See if I can keep this video at like 20 minutes, give or take. Again, just making a biface, not a finished point. I'm a slow flint knapper. I've made pretty good sized finished points in a couple of hours, and I've made pretty good sized finished points in a couple days, pretty much. So I try not to get in a rush. And sometimes it just takes me a while because the concentration and the focus isn't there. And it really takes me a lot of effort to maintain that. My leg is really sore. This pad is getting pretty worn. I should probably replace it with a new one. Still got some volume to it, but man, I whopped my leg pretty good a couple times today. And I'm still feeling it. It helps when you hit the rock and not just your leg. So I'll try to do that more. Try to do more of that. This stuff naps great. It's good Hornstone. I have no problems with it really. Some of it is high grade, some of it's mid grade, but it's all really good, man, honestly. The one piece from my first video this morning doing the bifaces that it ended up here. I'll probably be able to get a point out of it, but it's just got a lot of inclusions in it and stuff. But it started out, all you could see were these lighter bands right there. And that could fool a lot of people. Just because I have experience with this stuff and with bad material, this Hopkinsville stuff, I looked at this and I was pretty sure, like I knew there was going to be problems with it. And as I worked it down, you can see there's a lot of inclusions in those bands. So it is going to be problematic. I can probably get an arrowhead out of this. You know, as far as like novice people go and beginners go, hit or miss, they may be able to work it, they may not. But this was a small piece to begin with. It was about this size. So, you know, if you get a box with a piece like that in it, that's typical most of the time. It wasn't like super obvious that it was going to be bad, but I knew right away. But still, I'll get a point out of that. So, you know, it is what it is. If you can get a point out of that piece, what else can you say? I mean, that's good material. Now there's a crack right here. I don't know how deep it goes. I don't think it goes very deep. I think it's just a crack really mostly in the cortex, but we're going to find out. But that's really the only crack I'm seeing in this whole piece. So I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, it came right out. So, yeah, it just stopped right under the cortex. There's part of that crack right there, and it stopped. So, that's good. Yeah, this was a very good piece. This is what I would expect to see in a box of Hornstone from anybody selling good quality, you know, good quality Hornstone, really. Like I bought some from Ryan Gill a few years ago when he still was carrying it. I bought it from Brad Moore. I bought it from a few other people. I bought some from Aaron Large. Generally speaking, every box I've ever bought has been full of pieces that most beginner and novice snappers should be able to get a point or knife out of every piece. With the exception that occasionally a piece sneaks in there that it looked good and it ends up not being good. And that's just part of the game. That happens. It's not uncommon. And as long as it's kind of a one-off, you know, I don't ever say anything about it. It is what it is for me. Now, if it's a whole box of shit, which I've had happen before, that's a different story. This has not ended up being a box of shit. This has been a box of really good Hopkinsville chert that Todd sent me. So I got a good deal. If you're out there and you're watching this video and you saw his original post talking about, hey, I'll ship you 5 pounds of rock, you pay shipping, and all you got to do is give me some feedback, and you didn't do it, you missed out. Because he done sent me a nice box of good rock, and it cost me $23. And I talked him up a little bit. I told him to send me 10 pounds. I felt like I need a little bit more than 5. He said, cool. He sent me 14 pounds. So, you should have done it, but you didn't. Sucks to be you. Nah, I'm just playing. I did see some interesting comments on there, but man, asking someone to just cover shipping and that's it, and you'll put 5 or 10 pounds of decent quality material in a box, like, that's free rock. I don't care what you say, that's free rock. We all pay shipping in the rock buying world. 95% of the time we pay for shipping, especially when it's medium and large flat rate boxes. Everybody knows that. That's pretty standard. So shipping's a gimme. Everyone's going to pay for that. So if you only got to pay shipping and you're not paying by pound for the rock, that's free rock as far as I'm concerned. And my boy Todd sent me some free rock. And I appreciate it. I surely do appreciate it. And I hope he sells more of it. And he should, honestly. If he's got a good source of this, and he can keep getting material of this quality, he should be selling it. Hopefully he sells it at a decent price. I'm pinning it at around that $3.50 to $4 a pound price range for this stuff. There's a lot of Hornstone being sold out there today on the market. It's good stuff. I have thought for a while, generally, that some of it's overpriced. That's just my opinion. It's rock, and when you have a very plentiful source, I feel like you should kind of, this is my opinion, again, totally my opinion. I'm not telling anybody else how to do their business. Just my opinion. If I had a plentiful source of rock where I could get, you know, hundreds or thousands of pounds of rock in a trip, I would kind of pass that savings, a little bit of that savings on to the customer, just because of how expensive rock is these days. And a lot of people have to buy rock. They just don't have good sources where they're at. So, you know, if I had enough to where I could sell that much rock, I'd probably bump it down a little bit. You move more material that way too. Although from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of material being moved regardless. So, anyways. But more power to you. At the end of the day, the price of the commodity is determined by the buyer, not the seller. It's the buyer that decides what they are willing to pay for a commodity. No matter what, you can't convince me otherwise. If more people could fall in line and get together and agree on certain aspects of buying things, people would realize they have a lot more power than they realize they do. A lot more power than they realize. I would pay more money if it was, if we could bring more manufacturing and industry back over here. I would pay more money if I knew that it was helping to do that. And I think a lot of people would. I think a lot of people don't know, myself included, what all options are out there when it comes to buying things and putting money back into companies that are investing in manufacturing and products and services here more locally in the United States. And I'm not saying that to get on a political kick. I'm just saying that because at the end of the day, all these videos are talking about buying rock. Good stuff, man. This is just a fine, beautiful piece of hornstone right here. Nothing wrong with it at all. This is really nice stuff, Todd. Good job. Very good job. He did a good job spalling it all up. I saw a few little problems. Like I saw a piece earlier. Where was it? Right off the bulb of percussion, I could see some cracks. And that just comes from experience is all. Where'd that piece go? I'm not sure where it went. I was just looking at it, unless it was this one. I don't think it was this one, because I would have come across it by now. But anyways, long story short, he did a good job spalling all of this stuff, breaking it up, cleaning it up. Here it is. There's the point of impact. So here's your bulb of percussion, and I can see there's some incipient cracks coming down through there. And where was it on this side? Like right in through here. So basically this piece is going to end up getting cut in half. As I work this down, when I get to it, those cracks are going to widen up, I'm pretty sure. And this is going to split in two. But if done right, then you'll get 2 arrowheads out of this rock. They'll still be big enough to make 2 arrowheads. Is that Todd's fault? No, not necessarily. That's not. I guess it sounds like that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. Point being, he did a good job spalling all of this stuff up. That's really the only issue I've seen in everything in here. Spalling is tricky, and the only way to learn how to do it is to do it. I got pretty good at it because I have access to a lot of like local rhyolite and porcelainite where I can get big chunks of it. And so I spent a lot of time in the first year napping out in my driveway, spalling off of big chunks and big pieces of rhyolite and porcelainite, and learning the angles and all of that stuff. And so I got pretty good at it. It's hard to get good at it if the only material you have to pay for, and it's not that big. Like I remember when I first started and I bought a lot of Georgetown, man, I'd get nervous as hell when it was time to sit down and spall those pieces up, because that was all I had and it was expensive. And you can ruin some rock if you don't know what you're doing. Spalling it incorrectly, you can really ruin some rock. So it's kind of intimidating for people, I think. Rightfully so, but it's an important part of it that I think if you have the chance to get good at it and do it yourself, you should. And it also makes you just a better flint napper overall. It really does. All right, we're coming up on 17 minutes. I'm not going to hit 20, but I'm still going to try and keep it close to 20 minutes. We'll go over, but so I'm going to just focus now on getting this more symmetrical and evening out the edge lines before we call it quits. But this is just a really nice, this is good quality material all day long. And I pretty much have a box of this stuff. So there's nothing wrong with this. If you're looking for some good Hopkinsville chert, which again, it's a type of hornstone, I'd say reach out to Todd, talk with him, see what he's got on hand, because this is good material. And if he's got more like what he sent me, it's good stuff. You won't be disappointed. You can tell, and you just hear that clean snap. It just, the flakes just have that pop to them, that snap. Very clean. I'm not having to do a lot of work setting up platforms and abrading the edges. To me, that's a characteristic of a good material. When you can almost effortlessly, doesn't take a lot of work to set up the edges and your platforms to be able to take good flakes off. That snap, speaking of snap, I'll just say, probably of all the people out there doing videos of flint napping, Brad Moore has one of the cleanest sounding pops out there. When he's working Hornstone or whatever he's got, man, that dude, he'll be popping flakes off and it's just crack. Love watching his videos because it's such a clean, he's got just such a clean, smooth strike. Brad's really good. Watched a lot of his stuff as I've gotten better and better. And he was one of the people that I started out watching when I first started, just to learn and to have someone, you know, something playing in the background there. And Brad's a nice guy, and he sells good material too. He's pretty well known for having good hornstone, so he doesn't really need my advertisement, but it is good stuff. But this stuff here is as good as anything I've ever got from Brad. No disrespect to Brad, but it is. This is good stuff, man. I've been very happy with it, and I've hardly touched it. All I've done really is open the box and then made 2.5 bifaces now, and I've been impressed with it. So I got another probably 10-12 pounds of it here to work with. So thank you, Todd, for taking me up on my counter proposal to your offer. I do appreciate it. That's why I'm doing so many of these videos for him. I want to make sure he gets his money's worth too. I want to make sure I do a good evaluation. It's not just about saying it's good either. If it was bad, I'd tell you it's bad. Guarantee you. It's one thing about me. Like I'll say what it is regardless. I won't necessarily be a dick about it unless it's warranted. But Todd did not pay me to say that he's got good rock. That's not what's going on here. And I think I've made that clear in my videos so far, because I have critiqued some of the stuff that he sent for the quality of it and the problems that I knew I was going to have with it, and I did. And he was cool with it. I think he appreciated that. I mean, that's what he was looking for. So, yeah. Just trying to decide what material I want to keep and what material I want to get rid of to bring this thing into symmetry. And sometimes that's hard to choose if you have a choice in the matter. And right now I kind of still have a choice in the matter. Nothing wrong with this rock at all. It's good stuff. Todd, if you weren't sure about it, let me just reassure you. The material is good, my friend. It is good. Regardless of my best efforts here to make some mistakes, probably something I should start working on more is better planning for my symmetry. My percussion's still pretty random most of the time. And I think I stay opportunistic longer than I need to in a lot of cases, because that's easier than building platforms in the short term, not in the long term though. In the long term, it's not easier. "28 minutes. All right, it's time to probably call it good. This doesn't have to be perfect, because it's not a how-to video. I just want to take that hinge off right there, and then we'll be done. Got it. All right. There's another biface, not the most symmetrical, but this is ready for the next stages to get it to preform. I'll come back and do that at a later time. This material works great. Works as good as any heat-treated material, but it's raw. You don't have to heat-treat this, of course. No problems, no blemishes, just good old Hornstone. So, yeah, at this point, I'm pretty comfortable saying if you're looking for some, reach out to Todd and see what he's got going on and what he's got left, because if you buy a box from him, if it's like this, you're going to get a good box of rock. Okay? So, that's it for the bifacing series. The next video I do, which will probably be later in the week, will be, we'll come back and we'll finish a point out of it. Until then, see you later. Have a good week. Thanks for watching.